Good day, ma'am. Good day, my fellow classmate. We are the group 4 that we are going to report about the topic shooting fireworks and light shows. Introduction. Most people enjoy a fireworks display, and photographers usually flock to venues where light shows like Sydney's Vivid Festival have been scheduled. It's not difficult for amateurs to take pictures at these events. Even point-and-shoot cameras include low-light and fireworks modes to make it easy to obtain shots that can be shared via social media. So, the majority of people like seeing fireworks, and photographers frequently throng to sites where light shows such as Sydney's Vivid Festival are scheduled. Even point-and-shoot cameras have low light and fireworks modes, making it simple to capture images that can be shared on social media. So, what is Sydney's Vivid Festival? Vivid Sydney is an annual festival that sparks the soul of our city with creative brilliance for 23 days and nights, celebrating its 12-year 2022. Vivid Sydney fuses art, innovation, and technology in collaboration with some of the most boundary-pushing artists, thinkers, and musicians of our time. Vivid Sydney tells a story of the harbor city beyond the icons, about urban legends, secret spaces, and visions for the future. This year, the festival boasts the longest continuous light walk in the history of the event, from Sydney Opera House to Central Station, and once again, Sydney Opera House will be aglow for lighting of the sails. So I'm going to show some pictures of Sydney's Vivid Festival. Here are the pictures. And then I'm going to show a video about Sydney Vivid Festival. So, photographing light displays with increasingly advanced cameras, particularly interchangeable lens ones with a complete range of user-adjustable features, will yield better results. Because you'll be shooting at night, there are certain special requirements and you'll need the correct gear to get the best results.
The concept of lighting installation is used mostly in reference to installation of artificial electric illumination, in which case the installation includes the lighting devices with their light sources, the starting and controlling apparatus, supply means, switchboard, and various electrical equipment. Having a lighting in a place or in a community is how it has been lit. For example, by electric lights, by candles, or by windows, or even the quality of light in an object. So, the light installation ay kadalasang nasasangkot sa mga projection where it is a moving images that change rapidly. So, kung ang intensity ay mas mababa, having a high ISO setting are essential to provide the short exposure to minimize blurring or yung pagkalabo ng kuha ng isang images. And kadalasan ay mas madali if kukuha tayo ng sequence of shot to give it a fine-tuned exposure level. since most of the display ay cyclical or paikot kaya umuulit after 10 to 15 minutes. And yes, having a proper lighting in one place is important for making the images more unique and attractive to the eyes of many people.
Fireworks can be more challenging to capture since there is often a huge difference in brightness between the bright lights from the fireworks exploding and the surrounding scene. Shorter exposure times will capture more colors in the fireworks, but the sky and the often of the surrounding scenery usually becomes almost black. So, sinasabi dito na isa sa pinakamahirap or pinaka-challenging na i-capture ay fireworks. So, bakit daw? Kasi maikli ang time duration ng pailaw ng fireworks and it does happen during the night or kapag madilim ang kalangitan. So, in other words po, mahirap talaga siyang ma-perfect or makuha yung ini-aim mong shot. Pero if you are really willing to learn the basic knowledge about it, you will understand kung ano yung mga instrument na kakailanganin mo. For example, ay tripod for the stability of the shot. Yung timpla ng camera at syempre yung basic knowledge mo sa tamang pag-shot or tamang timing sa pag-capture sa fireworks. So, the following tips will give you the idea on how capturing the fireworks.
So now let's go to the following tips that will give you the best chances of capturing successful fireworks photographs. We have here the first, the essential equipment. When we say essential equipment, these are the things you will needed to capture beautiful fireworks photos. So as you can see on the photo, there are AirPods, cameras, remote shutter, and some equipment best for capturing fireworks. You will need a tripod to keep your camera steady during long exposures. So the tripod on this photo is this, the longest black one. It's best for keeping camera steady during long exposures. The next one is a remote shutter. It will be best to ensure the camera remains steady. So just like how we use remote control, we have the control when we can start or we can end shooting cameras. Make sure also you also have a high capacity memory card plus a couple of spares because capturing fireworks photos will be needed or will qualifies a big storage enough to store those beautiful photos. So that's all some of the equipment need when capturing fireworks photos. At the end of the day, it's not the equipment that makes a photo great. It's a combination of the people or the photographer and its equipment. So having the best equipment is nothing without having presence of mind of the photographer at first, and then having the passion when capturing fireworks photos or even other photos. Thank you.
Essential equipment. You will need a tripod to keep your camera steady during long exposure. We need tripod so that it allows us to use a long exposure, a faster shutter speed, up to several seconds without the risk of us moving. Tripod can help those who have a difficult time holding their camera for taking photos. Tulad ng mga matatanda na may mga sakit, if we still find ourselves with blurry photos due to our hand shaking, a tripod can definitely fix this. A remote shutter release will ensure the camera remains steady. Remote shutter can make sure that they capture high quality shots without worrying about camera shake. A remote shutter release will let us take photos without pressing down on our camera shutter button. Make sure you have a high capacity memory card plus a couple of spares. We should have memory card so that it can offer large amount of storage space while being in small size. Also, a large memory card support larger files and be quicker when processing them.
The next tips that will give us the best chances of capturing successful fireworks photographs is to find a location. As with most other types of photography, being in the right place at the right time gives you a huge advantage. Why? Because it is your chance to get the best shot without people distracting you. Mas makukunan mo ng maayos yung mga lightings if you are focusing on your target. 'Di ba kahit saan naman kapag mayroong mga distractions, hindi mo mabibigay yung best mo since you are being distracted with others. So, mas better kung magiging maaga ka talaga dun sa specific place na pagkakandaktan mo ng photography. And at the same time, importante na tama yung location na pupuntahan mo to conduct your shots. Kasi anong sense naman nun if you are early bird pero mali naman yung location na puntahan mo. So, we must consider na dapat tama at alam natin yung location and at the same time, maaga tayo to avoid distraction. At saka alam naman natin na kapag merong mga fireworks display and light shows, madami talagang mga tao, most especially yung mga tourists na nag-stay in that place. So, better be in the right place in the right time when conducting photography. Dealing with crowds can make photography difficult at light shows. At what I've said kanina, mas better talaga kung you are alone in that certain location when you are conducting photography because you are given more justice doon sa details na gusto mong ma-achieve as you take pictures. If you're alert, you can capitalize on gaps that occurs momentarily and move in closer. Longer lenses can also provide up-close views. It can be helpful if your camera has a tilting touchscreen monitor that it can be held above your head, enabling you to shot over the crowd. It is your advantage if you are using more upgraded lenses since it gives you a stress-free and easy na lang sa'yo to take nice shots since you are using a lenses that are applicable in taking longer shots. Shots are recorded by touching the area of the screen you want to keep sharp. With the use of high ISO setting are usually essential where you must be prepared to tolerate some image and noise. So, advantage talaga if you are using upgraded camera since there is a lot of high-class camera where you can buy and specialized na talaga siya or ginagamit siya ng mga professional kung saan mas mapapadali yung pag-capture ng image and maganda yung result. And kung sa tingin mo, maganda naman yung location mo to take pictures and the problem is the quality of your lenses, you can buy more upgraded to satisfy yourself and of course the people. So sobrang daming upgraded na talaga na cameras where you can easily touch the screen na hindi ka na may hihirapan and magagamit mo if ever that you are with a huge crowd.
The second thing to consider in finding a location is to get to the location early. According in our PowerPoint presentation, getting to the location early will enable you to find an unobstructed position that provides a view over people's heads and unimpeded by fixed obstructions like light poles. Take notes of where fireworks are being set up and which part of the sky they are likely to be shot into. So that's what I read, that when you arrive early at the place where the firework display will be held, you can avoid unwanted things that will be included in the pictures you take because you go to the location early and you can find a good one spot for taking a pictures. One of the reasons why the photographer must be early in the location, it is because being early have the advantage to look for the spot where fireworks are being set up and which part of the sky they are likely to be shot into. Having a good location in photography can help the picture to look presentable and beautiful. And getting there early can help you to choose or find the best spot to capture the firework display. This is very important, especially if you expect the firework display to be busy, which they usually are. Arriving early gives you time to have a good look around and choose the best place to shot from. It also gives you time to set up your camera well before the first firework is set off.
Camera preparation. Decide which lens you'll be using. Prime lenses provide wider maximum apertures than zooms, which means your viewfinder view is brighter when you use a DSLR with an optical viewfinder. So when we are preparing a camera, it is important to decide which lenses you'll be using because lenses may affect the quality of an image. Kasi yung mga camera lenses ay may direct effect sa background blur, sa sharpness, level of detail at depth of field. Also, prime lenses provide wider maximum apertures than zooms. Kasi yung mga primes have a lot less moving parts so they are not constricted by zooming. At wala sila yung extra glasses sa loob that moves in order to zoom. So therefore, they have a wider apertures than zoom lenses. And wider the apertures also allows more light into the camera. So as a result, you get the better quality photographs due to less diffraction. In addition, yung purpose ng optical viewfinder sa DSLR ay yung pag-allow niya sa photographer na mag-compose ng shot while seeing exactly what the lens sees by looking through the lenses. Many photographers prefer zoom lenses as they make it simpler to adjust the field of view covered in the shot. Ito ay prefer ng mga nagpa-photojournalism at ng mga event photographer kasi they can change the angle of view quickly na hindi nagpapalit ng mga lenses. At dito, you can adjust the focal length to the scene in front of you without the fuss of changing the lenses. Keeping horizon straight is important in fireworks shot. The long exposure required for firework photography. So, kailangan dito use low shutter speed. And when shooting scene, that includes not just the sky but also other things like cityscape, keeping the horizon line straight is particularly important. Add variety to your shot by swapping between vertical or portrait and horizontal or landscape orientation. Yang parehas lang nagpo-provide ng good result although yung vertical perspective ay nagpo-provide ng mas better na coverage sa vertical motion. Switch off the built-in flash. Never use a flash when photographing fireworks kasi yung flash ay maaaring ma-drown out yung color and vibrancy ng fireworks and potentially overexpose the photo. Shoot in manual focus and exposure modes. Autofocusing in low light can be very difficult for many cameras and most firework display are far enough from your camera to be focused, with the lens set to infinity. Pre-focus wherever possible. Autofocus is difficult for the camera to focus on moving object like fireworks. So avoid autofocus to adjust your camera during the firework burst and then switch your camera to manual mode. This way, you'll have the correct focus and with your camera in manual focus, you won't need for your camera to focus while you're trying to photograph a firework display.
Autofocusing in low light can be very difficult for many cameras, and most fireworks are far enough from your camera to be focused with the lens set to infinity. Pre-focus whenever possible. When light conditions are poor, the camera has a hard time focusing on a subject or scene, and it will frequently search by the focusing forward and backward until it gives up. Cameras are improving their low light focusing capabilities, but they are far from flawless. LOS ISO setting will ensure that cleanest shot possible. Depending on your camera's sensor size, resolution, and image processing, noise can be started to affect night shot from about ISO 3200 on, so it's best to keep ISO below 400 if possible. ISO setting of 100 to 200 produce the greatest image. You can get away with ISO 400 for the great majority of enlargement up to 2024 depending on the picture sensor and camera's engineering. Balance your aperture setting to provide a sustainable ratio between the fireworks and the surroundings. Mid to small apertures between f5.6 and f11 work well if you want the fireworks appearing against a black sky. The blurredness or details of the backdrops is determined by the aperture. A big aperture such as f1.4 will create a very smooth backdrop. It's also ideal for low light photography. A small aperture like f22 will catch more background details. Check the first few shots you take to see whether they are so focusing on expose to show what you want. Once you're satisfied, you may only need occasionally check after changing an exposure or focus setting or move to a different focal length. A good exposure is one that makes you pleasant. It indicates that you have properly set the aperture, shutter speed, and ISO parameters. As a result, neither too much nor too little light has made an imprint on the sensor of your camera.